You ready in a minute, Godfrey?
Okay, well,
Let's just do a couple more and then we'll get on with it. The End of Mankind. I wrote this before The Contagion, by the way. This was, well, they're all written a few years ago. The End of Mankind. Could be the end of mankind now, maybe, in a way. It's a different world now, isn't it? Try hard to realm in the ideals of a zone laid out of the manuscript from time's coordinate resolution circumference. Nature's part, rectified, contained elements of interpretation. Therein rides the subjective analogous tides, waves of multitudes resting on the laurels of deep regarded elders. In the modern realm of over-aiding, of case studies drawn up, there stands this case study within the survival pages holds the key. Sharon, a leader who represented old truths, a collateral decisive, too hard to sustain the liberal fence-sitters. We are now arriving in the duopoly of a contagion, world seeking to use the voluptuous known as compounded wealth. A fear derives the middle towards the poor. The poor are such, not in the sense of the lack of riches, but a greater degree, the inner desire of value derivative. Hence, within each new pendulum, the destabilizing influence of the greater leaks. Create a volume of iniquitous thought, the worst plague of distraction. How do we square this in the end? By creating a natural end to what is not in any way nature. The catalytic warning will be the prospect that if enough believe in a monolithic, then who can sustain the truth? The Candace ecology of a messianic age, as much as the technocrats endeavour, reign today, tomorrow might Medim, a Noah, a devouring journey, one that our forebearers knew. What satellite will fix the paradigm? A foreign avenger in only understanding, which means if we were absent the necessary understanding, our reaction, what would it be if not survival? And yet, in the end, maybe this is the beginning. All right, Godfrey, let's do something. Thank you. This one's called The Streets of New York, which I think we did before with Godfrey. It's a piece I wrote in New York. I lived there for 2 years. I've lived in 5 countries, and I performed in New York, Miami, Bahamas, one-man shows, 50 minutes. It was interesting actually being in America because they're more childish than we are. We're more intelligent, but they live their life. So if you talk to a man from Turkey or Greece and you say to him, how old are you? And he says, I'm 40. You say, how do you feel? He says, I feel old. I'm an old man. If you speak to Anglo-Saxon, it's a bit better. But if you speak to an American at 75, he's still young. Remember that. Okay, so now this one's called The Nation of Storm. In the streets of New York, the nation of storm, love is not a crime. To live is not a soul's temptation to reminisce of the past in a time built from the ashes of a deal broke. With the pale felt qualms of the Dutch invasion masked the Yankee revolt, causing the birth of a nation. One that can look up and feel proud, proud of the deity of cement that casts a sensation of the truth that is read in its own reincarnation. The mother was born, and through the last birth of man, the future of a storm. This one only basks us to look up the awe of creativity and standards so high. When we reach up skywards, those are more than beacons that try. to carve out the nation of storm, half-lit to magnificence, holy beyond the Redeemer. When you ask for life, you event forward with so much passion that no flicker of a nation was ever going to get in your way. To say you cared for the other, you chose this site. This land is a testament to the power of man, unleashed in a metropolis, without comparisons drawn. Nowhere was there any lack of description. To have man to man like a traveller in time, but this one sat his stone in the sand. I make it plain, I have conquered my fear. Fear, if of nothing else than placing a group of buildings more mighty than you can believe. Visit me, and you'll see much more than a view, much more than you can look over and chew. I praise the Lord to give me the power to choose. I choose to live in grand, no more oracle than in the covenant drawn. Reach out to me in the lantern of all given hope. No chains will bind my mind, the power of my scope. It sings to me from a high token place. What part of the answer no do you understand to let it grow? We never sold ourselves short. A remarkable accent, a part of the passage of time. And then to adventure beyond some far greater plan. We decided our destiny as long as we felt, to live to the future, to journey to a new boundary that existed, not in our minds, but a place far from yonder. Now I place in your hand the sound of the past. Now you can journey forward with the solace of a broken mask.